Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and droids across our beloved empire to the Grand Arena Coliseum, where today we are doing our updated graphic for all the best teams in Galaxy's ranked best to worst for August 2022. It's been a couple months since we made this video last time. A couple of new teams added, a couple of Omicrons changing things up here, and a couple of additions and change we made to the graphic itself here. And in case you do not have time, well, here's the whole entire graphic. There's a link down below in the video description if you just want to see the graphic and you don't want to hear me jabber away. And I also want to thank you guys for liking last time I made this video in February 2022. My gosh, I'm so happy you guys enjoy this series. So thank you so much for the 167 billion views as well as the 5.7 trillion likes. My gosh, you guys are amazing. But on that note, we got to go ahead and showcase this. And I want to point something out here. I made a little change since the last time I made this video. Last time I combined the Kyber and Galactic Legend teams into one, just the Kyber tier. And people didn't quite understand. They were confused why Padme with Cat was in the Rhodium tier. I understand the confusion, so I made a little bit of a change, and instead what we're doing this time around is we're just having their own Galactic Legends category to try to minimize the confusion as such here. So now Galactic Legends will have their own tab and not take up the space, because there's only so much space I can put into a graphic, and the good teams that were technically Kyber were kind of spilt into a Rhodium. So let's get this going. There's not a lot to elaborate on the lower tier. Carbonite, Bronzium, we're not going to spend a lot of time on them. And of course, there's a lot more Carbonite and Bronzium teams. Not really worth our discussion. Now, I just want to point out one thing though. I put the Hutt Cartel on here. Hutt Cartel is the new team, one of the new teams. We have Inquisitors we got to talk about as well, and as well as Rogue One getting a bit of an upgrade and other stuff. But the Hutt Cartel, not really good right now. We just got the tag, and there's only synergy via proxy, meaning they just have synergy because there's a tag, but there's not a lot going on. So right now, the Hutt Cartel's not really good, but give it some time. We have our new Hutt Cartel member coming later on, and of course, we have Jabba the Hutt coming pretty soon. So if you're someone that's been a bit sad, just wait. Give it, I'm sure the next time we rank all the teams, Hutt Cartel is going to be a lot more formidable. Honestly, let's just get past the Bronzium and just go straight to Chromium. When we're looking at the meta for Grand Arena Territory Wars, which that's what this graphic is all about, focusing on the PvP aspect of the game, pretty much Kyber to Chromium is kind of the more important teams you want to focus on. That's where the meta is. The best teams are kind of filtered into these variety of categories right here. And just a little reminder, since the last time I made this video, if you see a sword icon, that means they're primarily good for attack. Shield means they're primarily good for defense. Sword and shield means they're primarily good for both offense and defense. And of course, I do also know if they need an Omicron to really get to that tier, you'll see that as well on the right side of each individual graphic. The only few things to note that changed inside of this graphic for the Chromium tier is that we have the addition of Admiral Akbar with the Omicron that also requires an Omicron on Princess Leia. Really, this is more of an attack-based team. I've seen quite a few of these out there. I've seen them on defense mostly. Not the greatest defensive team, but this team originally is not really great. It's a Carbonite-based team, as you saw, but with the Omicron, you're taking characters that you probably have laying around, and you're turning them into a more formidable team to kind of work your way through some tougher teams that might be in the Rhodium or Chromium tier. So definitely a nice upgrade. Another addition to this list for August 2022 is the Inquisitors, but no Grand Inquisitor. You probably, you have to get the Inquisitors, they get the Grand Inquisitor, so what can you do with them in the meantime? And the short answer to a long question is nothing, not really too much. They're not really all that fantastic, but yeah, you can maybe at least use them. They're not the worst team in the game, but in more recent days, they're definitely not the hottest team on the block. That's something to say for sure. They're just kind of there, and they're needed for a couple of galactic challenges and other events, and you got to wait till you get the Grand Inquisitor. Otherwise, not really a special team. Chromium's probably the best that I can really grant them pushing forward here. Otherwise, nothing too new in the Chromium tab. So why don't we move on to definitely where we've had a little bit more momentum and changes. Hopping into the Rhodium tier. So with the Rhodium and Kyber tier, you're definitely going to see a few big changes there. One, because we added a whole new category, so we can kind of spread the characters and teams a little bit farther apart and give it more of a finite precision when it comes to their ranking instead of kind of garbling up together like last time here. Big thing to note here, Darth Revan. Don't worry, wait till we get to the Kyber category. Darth Revan with Malik, knocking him down to the Rhodium tier out of Kyber. The fact of the matter is, there's a lot of ways to beat Darth Revan nowadays in the game with Imperial Troopers, Bounty Hunters, and you can do a lot of funny stuff out there. Definitely, it was time for Malgus to come into the game and solidify a higher tier position. And Malgus has done its job. They've managed to cut away a variety of counters that were traditionally used up against Darth Revan. It's kind of tricky to use Imperial Troopers. Kind of tricky to use Bounty Hunters. You're kind of forced to almost use General Anakin Skywalker or Galactic Legend, it would seem. Of course, you're going to need Omicron. You'll see that in the Master category, or the Kyber category, later on down the road. Another few additions to this list, we have the Grand Inquisitor, Radish Shorty Droids on this particular team here. Grand Inquisitor, it's kind of suffering from Beskar Mando syndrome, where Beskar Mando, when he came out, he was not really an amazing defensive team, especially for a legendary character. We actually find more use out of Beskar Mando for other use, just him being in a fifth slot, not really leading the charge. Grand Inquisitors kind of feeling like they're in that situation. The main downside is, unlike Beskar Mando, props to him, you need to put Omicrons on the Grand Inquisitor to really get the most possible, and they're really only Territory War exclusive, and even in Territory Wars, yeah, they could beat Jedi Master Luke, and they have an easy time against gas. Kind of stops there. The Omicrons, I think it kind of polluted the feelings we've had towards the Inquisitor. You need a lot of investment gear. Omicrons, and they don't do a ton even in Territory Wars, it would seem like. Radis is another new addition to the list. I have a feeling this is a bit of a speculation point. I think we're going to see more of Radis Rogue One in the future. We have the new Andor show coming in September. I would say, right now, I think a Rhodium's a good spot for them, but I think they could get even better when we see the new Rogue One. It's not really Rogue One, but the Andor show, which I'm sure we'll see a lot of Rogue One's tie-ins in there. We've seen a nice bump, as you saw for the graphic earlier. Rogue One wasn't really all that special, but with Radis and creating the Night Sister zombie type of cheese with Jin, where you can't really kill off, Jin until Radis gets killed off. You got a lot of funny stuff in there. I've seen some good defensive viability. Even Wampa can have a hard time. You're looking at roughly a 60% win rate with Wampa against Rogue One. Definitely not a pretty type of team to go through. You're going to need something semi-decent to get through it, whether it's Bad Batch, Commander Luke Skywalker. Not the best defense team, but still, nonetheless, it kind of needs something decent to get through it here. Shorty droids. We have a couple of droid teams in the game. You either got like the Grievous lead, IG-88 lead. The problem is, though, if you take away Grievous, there's no droid team anymore. Well, that's where Shorty comes in. Shorty's going to take over those leftover droids, hanging around, and turn them into something fairly substantial. Where we see Shorty sometimes even beating Galactic Legends, like Sith Eternal Emperor. Very fun team. It's a great leftover team, and that's one of my favorite things, taking one character, supercharging a team. Truly, my favorite thing is a rework that supercharges a team. But nonetheless, a lot of people have droids lingering around, and it's good to see Shorty is becoming a bit of a nice way of taking care of your leftover teams in Galaxy of Heroes. Let's go ahead and move on to the Kyber tier, and I think we're going to have a lot more happy folks now that we have the characters that were technically Kyber, but there wasn't room last time for the graphic. Now they have their own dedicated space, and yes, Padme Amidala is a top tier team. I agree with you. Some people are a little upset that she was in Rhodium, but she, again, was a really good team nonetheless. Putting her in Kyber because now we have the room to fit her on the graphic here. Padme and Cat, you can't go wrong. Great offensive team, and it's a great way to use Cat until you get access to Jedi Master Kenobi. Couple of few additions we see on this list here. Most prominent one, Darth Malgus. That's why I had to kind of, set your expectations a certain way when we were talking about Darth Revan, because Malgus, you got a lot of fun stuff going on with him now. Latest Conquest unit, we're about to go into our first 5v5 Grand Arena, and in 3v3, he's been pretty menacing, and in Territory Wars, you can't really use your traditional counters up against him, especially with Darth Talon now getting a lot more use. She wasn't that amazing when she came out. Now she feels like she has a home in the game because Malgus is a Sith leader, and he taunts. You got to go after him, and Talon's going to just feed Terminator to the team every time you're hitting that Darth Malgus lead. So Malgus is definitely a top tier contending team inside of Galaxy of Heroes. A few other new additions to this list. We put Wampa as well as Ahsoka Tano on here. Two of our one-man wonder teams, the one-man army teams that we have. Wampa's the one-man army for Grand Arena, and Ahsoka is the one-man army for Territories. Ahsoka's doing a lot of funny stuff out there, which even taking on things like Starkiller, but people have been getting a little wise. Instead of using the typical Starkiller team you see at the top with Palpatine, Mara Jade, Starkiller, people are moving over to Traya and Starkiller to try to slow down Tano. But the fact that she can take on a full entire Starkiller team is, well, Pretty insane. Otherwise, you can just see we have more of this, the dedicated home spots. In the game, we got a couple of our bounty hunter teams, both with Sign of Django, which is good in territories for a couple of Galactic Legends. You got some other things. If you're going to go Grand Arena Bounty Hunters, you either got to use Zam Wessel or Fennec Beskar Mando. A lot of different ways to kind of alter these teams a little bit here. But I do want to point out, there's a couple of teams I feel like are keeping their hold on here. If you notice, I don't know if Kyle Katarn and Mon Mothma is really a Kyber level team anymore. They were for a couple months, I think. I moved them down to a Rhodium, but I do feel like Dash Rendar Scoundrels, because there's a lot of great Scoundrel compositions you can put together. Dash Scoundrels, I feel like, are still going to be a solid Kyber tier team, as well as Iden Versio, who wasn't exactly in the Dash Rendar Kyle Katarn class, but more or less pretty close. I think they actually wanted to make her requirement for Star Killer, but just decided to make her do her own thing. Fantastic character, offense, defense, very staple Kyber team. And again, taking leftover Imperial Troopers. Pretty much there's no dead weight in the Imperial Trooper faction, which is pretty crazy, if you ask me. And then, you know, we're not going to talk too much about it, but we actually just did a Galactic Legends in-depth review, going over a multi-point inspection over every single Galactic Legend. But as always, every Galactic Legend is a Galactic Legend, no matter how good or bad they are within their tier. But they definitely are above the rest of the crew in Galaxy of Heroes here. One other thing to note here that I want to just emphasize here, by no means are these in order in their tier. So this is not necessarily saying that Kenobi's better than Lord Vader, which he is, or that Lord Vader is better than Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, which he isn't. It's just, we're not going to nitpick over what's slightly higher than the other. So if you're in the tier, you're just really good for that tier. Just to give a little bit of a clarification for all that. But ladies and gentlemen, Gunkies and Droids, that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Hopefully you find this helpful. I think it's a nice little snapshot, kind of showing where we are right now in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And the next time I make this video, I think the primary thing we should be looking for is what's going on with the Hutt Cartel, Jabba the Hutt. And there might be a chance we get a little bit more Rogue One, Andor type of love with the new TV show. And of course, Bad Batch as well. Not too far around the corner. Leave that like, comment down below. Thank you as always for all your love around here. And on top of that, always remember that it's great to be, ooh baby, in the Empire today.